Sir, sir, imagine a 24-year-old girl. She's finished her college and she's gone for a job and to a bank or a telco, and she's done really well in the interview and she's all very excited and she's all set to get the job, and then suddenly, much against all expectations, she gets a rejection letter. The reason she gets a rejection letter unfortunately, because when they're going through the details, they find that her government scholarship scheme funded her education and her father was a manual scavenger. So what happens to the girl, sir? She loses the job. Sir, this is not an issue. Aadhaar is not an issue of privacy alone. Aadhaar hurts the marginalized and Aadhaar will hurt the poorest of the poor. Don't get me wrong, we are all for Aadhaar, but in the implementation of Aadhaar, sir, we have some serious issues. As I said, privacy may be a middle class or an upper middle class perception issue. Sir, it is not. It is an issue which hurts the marginalized. And that's the first point I want to make through you, sir, to the minister. Sir, manual labor, Manrega. Sir, the biometrics don't match. And all research which says why the biometrics don't match, because those are stone workers, those are cement laborers, those are limestone laborers, so the biometrics don't match. This is not about some privacy issue and not wanting my privacy to be invaded. Some midday meals. Jairam made the point earlier and I don't want to repeat it. But what are we doing? Harassing people who are 0 to 5 years of age, 6 to 10 years of age. These are the beneficiaries of schemes, sir. Instead, what are we doing? We are doing mental torture. Then the opposition makes a little bit of a noise. The media makes a hoopla. And then we say, no, that was only a weekend notification. Sir, specifically, I'll give you an example. And I've chosen this example not of a BJP ruled state, deliberately Andhra Pradesh, because I know there's an NDA meeting today, so maybe they can discuss this point also, because this is Andhra Pradesh. And this is not to do with Aadhaar card, but the implementation of Aadhaar, Mr. Minister. Sir, 2 years ago, there was in Andhra Pradesh, 85,000 ration card holders. There was a survey of people who had ration cards, Aadhaar. 60%, 50,000 of these did not get their PDS because of certain problems. So, sir, it's not only having the Aadhaar card, it's the problems which come. Now, why didn't these people with Aadhaar cards get their ration? There were 5 or 6 broad reasons why. 1, the POS machines weren't in order. 2, the biometrics didn't match. 3, the internet connection was poor. These are the realities. And 4, the remote servers didn't work. Or 5, the mobile network was very, very poor. So these are the reasons, sir. Andhra Pradesh is a very good example because there were fingerprint mismatches reported. And remember, this is for PDS of people who actually had Aadhaar cards. I liked what the BJP speaker said in his opening or in his speech. He said something. He said, "Bolte ek, karte dusra." Yeah, a lot of us do this. And I want to bring his attention to April 8th, 2014, in the same true spirit of Bolte ek, karta dusra. And I quote, on Aadhaar, neither the Aadhaar team nor the Prime Minister could answer my questions on security threat it can pose. Aadhaar is no vision, it is a political gimmick. Bolte ek, karta dusra. This is on April 8th, 2014. That honorable gentleman, in 3 years from now, has since become our honorable Prime Minister. So don't preach in speeches, because then it will come full circle around, and I hope the BJP spokesperson before this puts a privilege on me because of this quote. This is from the tweet. So let's come to the other issue. I hope we've established here already that it is not some upper middle class issue. It is an issue of mental torture for the poorest of the poor. So there are 2 more points I want to make. One is on the issue of privacy, and the second is on the issue of federalism and how Aadhaar invades that. So privacy. Now today you may tell me, because of an algorithm, Facebook or Google can tell you everything about yourself. You know, what you eat, what music you like, what you want to do, where you are traveling, where you're eating, fine. Now, sir, but those are private parties who access this data. Now, For example, through this even new national health policy, if I have, for example, a prostate operation, God forbid, or my appendix removed, and I want to make that very, very private, that's now public knowledge. I don't want to get matrimonial here. A boy wants to go and get married, suddenly everything is all set, and then someone checks out his data, and that's the end of his marriage. So this privacy is a very, very important issue, and there's a bigger picture to privacy, sir, is who is, and I think Rajiv brought this point up, so I'm not going to dwell on it, is who is UIDIA responsible to? Sir, it's not only the database which is the problem. So the privacy is an issue, and I think the best example we could take, since we are now creating one of the largest honeypots in the world, and from an honeypot, you can actually extract honey. The world's largest database is the US Social Security number. So there they ask you for a number. Here, face, hand, we are giving this even the world's biggest systems don't share these biometrics, sir. And who has this data? Some of them fly-by-night companies. This data is available to everyone. This data can be sold cheap. This data can be misused. So I want two specific questions to the minister, sir, and I hope he addresses this in his reply. What development need does linking databases together meet? Why would you want the personal data, the health transaction for every individual? 21 databases are being linked with NatGrid, with Aadhaar as a unique identifier. Have you considered, in a federal structure, the states have also access to data, and I can talk about my state. The state has secure systems. Some states have very secure systems, sir, to protect this data. Sir, a number is not a thumbprint. And that is the big danger we're getting into here, sir. Because once we make the number into a thumbprint, we are opening ourselves out into two things, sir. One is misuse of data, and two, in the guise of mandatory, I can't use a better example than what Jairam used, is putting a gun to my head. You know, use it or bang. Midday meal, now then you delay. Manrega, you do the same thing. ICDS, you do the same thing. So these are the basic issues, sir. This federalism being ignored, we're getting used to it in the last 3 years. We would like greater empowerment of states. For example, in my state, West Bengal. West Bengal, Aadhaar is not fully covered under, West Bengal is not fully covered under Aadhaar. But there have to be ways, sir, and if I may summarize, A, this is not a middle class, upper middle class issue. This hurts the poorest of the poor, the deprived, the children, the workers, and those kind of people. Two, sir, there are some serious privacy issues with the database. Because as somebody said, I think a famous industrialist in India said, data is the new oil. Sir, today, as much as we debate Aadhaar, today in Rajya Sabha, as I conclude, sir, I still think this is a deflection. Aadhaar is very good and we should debate it. But we'd also like to debate with this government some more serious issues. Investment, bank credit, jobs. Instead, where is this debate moving to? So this government needs to answer us on investment, on jobs, and on bank credit. Sir, I must thank you very generously today for allowing me this time and allowing me to make this speech on this motion which a few of us have moved here together and speak here my mind without having an Aadhaar card. Thank you for a small privilege.
Thank you.